Hello everyone. So in this video, which is the third in the series on PCOS, we will look at insulin resistance. What are the causes and what we can do about it. So insulin is an important metabolic hormone. Its primary function is to move the glucose from the blood into the cells and also to convert this into some part of this glucose into fat and store it away for future use. So what is the normal mechanism when you don't have any issues with insulin function? How does it work? We eat foods that are rich in carbohydrates. They get digested, turned into glucose. This is absorbed and comes into the bloodstream. Then the blood sugar levels start rising. Noticing this, the body starts releasing insulin into the bloodstream. Insulin comes and instructs the cells to start absorbing this sugar from the bloodstream. Now, how does it work when insulin resistance has built up in our body, in our cells? So, you eat the same food, the carbohydrates in the food get digested, turn into glucose, it enters the bloodstream, and the blood sugar levels start rising. Body responds by producing insulin and secreting it in the bloodstream. Insulin comes to the cells and tells them to absorb the glucose from the blood. But the cells do not listen to the insulin. Now, as a result, what happens? The blood sugar levels start staying higher for a longer period of time. The body senses this and responds by producing even more insulin. The more insulin is produced, the higher is the level of insulin resistance. And it becomes like a vicious cycle. It feeds upon itself and goes on increasing. And even the baseline insulin levels start settling at higher and higher levels. High insulin levels cause many problems to the body, including increasing inflammation and causing the ovaries to produce more amounts of male hormones, testosterone, leading to what is known as hyperandrogenism, a key symptom or mechanics of PCOS. Insulin is also responsible for the energy storage in the body, and this storage happens, can you guess? Obviously, it happens in the form of fat. So the body is converting a part of the glucose in the blood into fat and storing it away for future use. Actually, high levels of insulin ensure that more and more of the glucose is converted into fat and stored away in the body, leading to weight gain and obesity. Again, key symptoms of PCOS. Insulin is also a highly oxidizing and pro-inflammatory hormone, which creates many other problems for the body. Insulin resistance, when left unchecked, also leads to type 2 diabetes. Another characteristic feature of insulin resistance is what is known as a sugar crash, which leaves people feeling hungry, irritable, and shaky. The more carbs they consume as a result of this, the higher their sugar levels and therefore insulin levels go, and then the harder is the crash each time. They also crave carb rich foods like chocolates, sweets, etc. This is also known as reactive hypoglycemia. High insulin levels directly or indirectly lead to many of these issues like facial hair growth or on different parts of the body, losing hair from the top of the head, which is known as male type baldness, acne, type 2 diabetes, more weight gain, fat deposits, cholesterol imbalances, higher estrogen levels. All of these and many other things are caused simply by insulin resistance. So how do you solve this? You can solve insulin resistance by following what I refer to as a three-pillar approach. These three pillars are dietary changes, physical activity, and stress reduction. So let's look at the first pillar, which is dietary changes. As we have already understood, the primary driver of insulin resistance is a diet that is very high in carbohydrates, especially refined carbohydrates. So you replace your refined grains like your white rice, etc., by whole unprocessed grains like millets or brown rice, red rice, etc. The next is reduce the proportion of grains in your diet to a maximum of 25%. And when you do this, remember that the density of these grains is much higher than, let us say, your sabzi or dal, etc., that you might be eating along with the grains. So what looks like 25% actually might be much more than that. So reduce the grains to 25% of your plate. Increase the consumption of healthy proteins to at least 1.5 grams per kg of your body weight. So let's say if you are 60 kg, you must consume a minimum of 90 grams of protein per day. And you also need to increase the consumption of healthy fats. Once again, I would say minimum 75 to 90 ml per day. And don't worry, this fat will help you lose the fat. It won't help make you put on more weight. And you will feel actually much better in so many ways. Good healthy fat will even bring down inflammation in your body. Remove all processed foods from your diet. Eat anything that comes in a package which is made in a factory. Do not eat anything that comes in a package which is made in a factory. The second pillar is physical activity. When there is no physical activity, right, the glucose that is already there in your cells is lying unused. So think of it like this, right? When your cells are already full of glucose, they will naturally resist the entry of more glucose, right? And this is one of the reasons why insulin resistance is developing in our bodies. Hence, it is important to ensure that, or to make sure that your cells use up as much of this stored glucose as possible. And physical activity, intense physical activity exercise is the simplest way to do this. When you do physical activity intensely, the cells use up all this stored glucose. And when they are empty, they are very happy to allow more glucose to enter, right? This brings down the level of insulin resistance in the body. The third pillar is stress. We understand this, right? It impacts the body very negatively, including PCOS. It has many different pathways, chemical pathways in the body with which it can actually create or aggravate different dynamics of PCOS. To just give you one example, we know that, right, when we are stressed, the levels of cortisol hormones in the body go up. When cortisol levels are high, it immediately increases insulin resistance. It can also suppress the functioning of your thyroid, leading to so many of the symptoms and problems associated with PCOS. It also produces inflammation in the body. Therefore, bringing the stress levels down is a very, very important part of addressing PCOS. If you don't do this and you make all the other changes, you will definitely see improvement, but it will be difficult to sustain and completely resolve the issues. How do you bring stress levels down? Very easy, right? Don't get stressed. I'm saying that because we have forgotten the simple fact that stress is something that is happening within us. We are creating it based on our reactions to different situations. If we stop doing that, that is the end of stress. Well, there are other things also one can do. Start getting engaged in, things that you like, enjoy doing, maybe take up some hobby which is of a relaxing nature. Start dancing, singing, you know, spend more time with friends and family. Do not watch too much TV. And definitely do not binge on TV late in the nights and all, because it stresses the body physiologically also, right? Do not overdo consumption of stimulants like coffee, alcohol, etc. Start doing some yoga, meditation, pranayam. It will definitely help you bring down your stress levels. So there are many ways like this that one can take up. Whatever works for you is what you need to do to bring your stress levels down. So that's all for this video. I'll see you again soon. Take care till then. Bye bye.